Well, welcome everyone to Conversations with Women Like Me. I'm Julie Fairhurst, and I'm the founder of the book program, and I'm also the transformational story coach. So I help women get their stories out of their minds, their hearts, their bodies, onto paper and into a book so that they can share it with the world and hopefully to help promote healing. I'm here today with, oh, I'm so excited, June Palmer is here today. She's one of our newest writers, and she has just a really amazing awakening story. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So I know you're going to just really enjoy listening to her. If you're watching us on YouTube, that's fantastic. But we also have podcasts. So we're on Apple and Spotify and quite a few podcasts. So you might be able to catch us on there as well. So welcome, June. I'm so happy that you decided to be here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I'm just going to tell everybody a little bit about you, and then we're going to dive into your story. So, June Palmer is a First Nations Iskwew from Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation in Alberta. Now that is in her Cree language. I had to double check with her to make sure I get my pronouncing right. And that means woman. June is married to her sweetheart, Brian. And June is a proud mother of 4 and a cookum, which means grandmother, to Thorin, Caroline, Maria, Rhea, and Marcella.
Marceline.
Marceline, right. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. June is an amazing intuitive healer with a passion for sound healing. She travels extensively, sharing her sound medicine and intuitive gifts and talents. June's spirit lodge name is Mikwan, which means feather in her Cree language. And when you see the picture of June, you're going to see June holding her feather. And I didn't even connect the two, the picture and the bio, until just now when I was reading it. So June, I'm just so grateful that you wrote in our book. The book that June wrote in is in volume 6 of Women Like Me, and it's Women Like Me, Healing and Acceptance. And June is one of 9 ladies that wrote. When you read the stories in this book, you are really going to understand why the book is called Healing and Acceptance. So June, let's just get started maybe with why you wanted to write your story in the book.
I wanted to write my story and be included. Well, first, it's just amazing. It's just amazing, the compilation, the just being included in this group of amazing authors. And I thought, wow, I could be an author too. And I wanted just to share my story, share a little bit of my story, because I've always thought about writing it out here and there. And I do have little compilations of little stories here and there. And I thought it would be a good place to have write just this kind of small part of my story and share that around healing and acceptance.
Yeah.
Be included in it. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. And also, we were talking earlier, and the fact is that once your story's in print, it's there for life. And I don't know if you're aware, but one of the things we have to do as authors of books is we have to send copies of 2 books, each book, to the Canadian Library. So it's held there as well.
Wow.
So yeah, and so we've got our friends, our families, our children, our next generation, our great grandchildren, they're going to have your story and also the story of your mom, because your story focuses a lot on your mom and your mom's history.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love how June wrote it, because what she did is she would pick a situation and then she would write about her reflections on that. And then she would also write about her mom's reflection. And I find it just so interesting how you were able to compile those 2 together. And it really gives the reader a view as to how you see it and then how your mom lived it.
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your mom?
My mama, she I say was, but she is amazing. She's always been a nurturer of my intuitive gifts and talents right from when I was a tiny girl. Connections to spirit. connections to my guides, my spirit team, and she's always nurtured that right from when I was tiny until I was older. And actually, she was instrument in me getting my feather. So the feather that you see in the picture, I'm holding that beautiful eagle feather. We moved into mom and dad's house, our new house on the nation, when I was 7. And the front window faced the lake. There was a big field, and then there was the lake, and there was trees, poplar trees. The eagles used to sit in these trees, so I would sit in the front window and just watch them over the years. So when I was 11, my mom gave me tobacco, and she told me what to do and how is to be presented. She said, if it's for you, you go out there where they sit, and you could be gifted your feather today. So I ran out across the big field, and I kept looking back, and Mom was standing in the window. And so I ran out there across the field, and the grass was tall. I think I was short, but I feel like the grass is tall. Like I still drive by the same field, and the grass is tall.
Yeah.
So I get out to the spot, and I'm running around in the field, trampling around, like, okay, like they sit right here. This is where they sit, and I watch them, and I was like sad, and I turned around to walk home because I didn't find anything. So I turned around to walk home, and I just about stepped on it. There it was, laying on top of the grass. You know how grass is tall and it falls and it lays
Yes.
Well, there was my eagle feather. You see the one in the picture.
Yeah.
Laying on top of the grass. And so I did my tobacco offering, and I was gifted my feather when I was 11.
Oh, so can you tell me, I don't understand, like what's the meaning of being gifted your feather?
It's almost like it's kind of an addition to your tool chest, your medicine chest is
Oh, okay.
in your during your on your healing journey, on your path. It's like a support. It's all so many things.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you talk about when you're talking about your story, one of the things that you mentioned is you have quite a few of your family members that did attend the residential school system.
They did. Yeah, my
Yeah.
grandma, my dad's mom, she attended residential school. I think that was over in High Prairie area. That's where originally she's from. And my mom and dad attended at St. Francis Xavier Sturgeon Lake Residential School here in Sturgeon. And my siblings attended St. Bruno's in Jussard, which is a couple hours from home here. I didn't have to attend by the time I came school age, and the schools were starting to close down.
Yes.
I didn't have to go.
Oh, that's good. Yes. Okay. Well, why don't we dive in? So you talk a little bit about so we get to your next page here. So you talk a little bit about Sprout Hill. I just thought that that the story you wrote about Sprout Hill was so sweet. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Spud is called. We've always called it Spud Hill, and it was so Spud Hill was the root cellar that they had made behind, and it was originally situated behind the residential school. And we went in there one time, and there was 5 kind of bins, like maybe 8 by 6 by 8 in diameter, I suppose.
Yeah.
So there was 5 on one side and 5 on the other side, and you walk down, and there's just these bins, and that's where they kept all the potatoes.
Oh.
Spud Hill. And so we used to go sliding on Spud Hill. And
Oh.
back then, we didn't, you couldn't, or we couldn't go and just go buy a crazy carpet or a toboggan or whatever it was. So we had to improvise. And one time we improvised with a car hood.
Oh, a car.
There wasn't, there wasn't
Yeah.
steering on said car hood, but boy, did it give her down the.
That it did.
And then we decided maybe that wasn't the safest thing. So then we, back in the day, the cardboard boxes, they used to have kind of a wax or kind of a plastic kind of.
I remember that. Yes.
The heavy card. They don't make it like that anymore. But I'm dating myself too. So you got a hold of a cardboard box, and you just went sliding on a cardboard box. Yeah. So we spent a lot of time on Spud Hill sliding.
Oh. So was Spud Hill then, was that near the residential school? Was that part of it? So that was where they kept their vegetables or their potatoes.
Yeah, you bet. It was it was situated where right behind where the residential school was, is kind of right behind there. And then
Yeah.
further off to the side of that, there used to be a great big barn, and then the field, the potato field that was, now we have an arena there, there's a play school,
Oh,
there's a
nice.
daycare, there's still, the church is still there, but there's all these new developments, but at this
Yes.
big field, it used to be a potato field.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow. You know, I also like about how you say that you often went to Mission Hill
Yeah.
and that you would sit on the guardrails to watch the sunset and take in the sights of Sturgeon Lake. And it was called Mission Hill because the old residential school was nearby. But I really loved how you reflected how you sat and watched the beauty of this, but you wondered whether your parents could see the beauty of it as they were children.
Yeah, it occurred to me actually that was just recently, just this past fall. I often go like, as you're driving around, you drive by, and you see the sunset. You got to pull over and stop and take a minute.
Yeah,
I do. I sit there often. I take so many pictures from the Mission Hill, and I was sitting there and I was just looking at the colors and the clouds and just the way the light was hitting everything, and the fall, the yellow and the orange colors of fall, and I thought, wow, this is just beautiful. And then it occurred to me that the residential school was situated just behind where I was sitting. And I remember my mom telling me when she would look out the window, like she saw the army trucks going by because the war was going on, right? So she was telling me she'd look out the window and she'd see the trucks and the tanks and the things going by. And then it occurred to me, did she look out that window and get to see the same beauty in the sunsets that I did? Or she, so caught up and just wanting to go home? And because home was just like just down the road, but she couldn't
yeah,
go there. She had to stay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
experience.
yeah. Well, and she was looking at army trucks. Well, on top of it all, that's scary for a
Yeah.
child to
Right?
be, yeah, to have that going on and not being able to be with your parents and be in your own home. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So do you feel that your mom, how do you feel that the living in those residential schools affected her? Or do you think that she was like, did it negatively affect her? Was she able to I'm just curious how that, as a child, I couldn't, I couldn't even imagine of that actually, happening, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Right?
uh, but, I'm just curious
I
how
didn't.
you,
My
yeah,
mom, they didn't. She didn't talk too much about. Like she did tell a few stories, and I did share a couple in my
yeah,
story about her experiences there. But she didn't say too many things. My mom always looked on the bright side of everything.
mm,
She always
yeah,
brought the light to everything. My mom was just a beautiful light, and she brought light to everything.
yeah,
The way she did that around the residential school was she looked at the bright side of things and how, sometimes there would there's this, I'm not sure if I included that in the story. Yeah, I did. Where they were shining the floors.
oh yeah,
Shining the floors, they had these things stuck to their feet and the wooden floors, so they were helping shining. And she said that was fun, but you couldn't show you're having too much fun, otherwise you have to go do a not fun job.
oh, oh dear,
So she did talk about some good times there with, and being a young girl and with her good friend Evelyn, and but she talked about how she learned how to sew. She learned how to sew there. My mom was an amazing seamstress. She
oh,
something in her mind like it's going to look like this and it's going to look like that. It'll be about this size. The sleeve will be this long. The cuff's going to be like this, and like she'll think it, and like I don't know, maybe an hour later, and it's like there it is.
wow,
My mom was an amazing seamstress. So she would say, "Yeah, I learned how to sew." So she was a gifted seamstress. So she looked at the bright side, that like what kind of her teachings and what she learned
yeah,
there. So she
yeah.
would take that away and she would share those.
It's so important to, even when we're not happy or sad
Mhm.
when we can try to look on the bright side of things, and it just it helps us just to be healthier and
Mhm.
and acceptance, as sometimes we have to accept things because they're out of our control. But if you
Yes.
can accept it and try to just look at all the bright side of that, I think that that's really helpful. I remember reading that part about your mom, and I remember visualizing, seeing these kids like sliding all over them, we're shining up the floors, and
uh, and trying to
yeah,
not have look like they're having too much fun.
yeah, yeah. So there's another part of your story, June, that and I know we talked about it before you even started writing, and then you did write about it in your book, where you were recall sitting in the on a step in the stairwell
Yeah.
in the school, but the school was closed down, right? And
Yes.
yeah, do you
Yes.
want to tell us a little bit about that? Because when we talked before, you also mentioned just the feelings that were coming up for you while you were there.
Mhm. So being an intuitive, like even at a younger age, I wasn't sure, wasn't I wasn't aware of it. So all I knew of that time was in the stairwells and in the kind of in the basement area. This Yeah, I would just get these feelings of like the hair would stand up on. You just feel kind of like if someone's chasing you or you feel creepy. That kind of a feeling is what I would get in different places and spaces. So in this particular time, I was sitting at the top of a stairwell. Kids play in buildings and places they're not supposed to play. So there we were. We were playing around in there. And we would be kind of running around playing hide and go seek all over. And like it was a big building. And I remember sitting at the top of the stairs where I think, oh, I couldn't have been hiding too great if I was right in plain sight, sitting at the top of the stairs. And I remember looking down this hallway and looking at the way the floorboards were just kind of seemed to go on forever, and I could see like the dust kind of collecting in there and the scuff marks and the baseboards, like they were extreme. They were tall, like at 8-inch baseboards, I would say. Like they were extremely tall baseboards. I remember noticing that, and then the cross hatching in the rubber kick plates on the stairs where I was sitting, and just noticing kind of all the flooring and how it kind of was all put together. And the sun was shining through the window, and you can kind of see dust kind of floating in the air, and just kind of just a moment of noticing all these little details.
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me afterwards, I having that remembering of myself sitting there. And then I thought, wow, my mom and dad spent time here too. And not like I was, but in totally different circumstance. And I was like, it really changed up the energy around it.
Yeah.
Just not like for myself, not having the awareness. Like I wasn't aware of residential schools, even though I was running around in there at that time. I didn't realize my mom had spent and dad had spent so much time there.
Right.
I didn't even realize what it really was
Yeah.
when I was playing around in there. And that's I was 12, 12,
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I just find that little bit of of your story, I just find it quite incredible, because
Mhm.
to be, in there and maybe even around the same age as your parents were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to just feel the energies of
Mhm.
the people that were living there,
Mhm.
and just oh, I got shivers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's much like the way we share our stories in the book. You're putting your
Yeah.
energy into it, and the people they're reading it, and they're taking in that, and they're feeling it, and so it's like it's pretty
Yeah.
the same as sharing
Yeah.
that space.
Yes, yes. Oh, so you also say that your mom got sick, unfortunately,
She
in
did.
2015. Do you want to tell us a little bit
2015.
about that?
Yeah. So when I was, like I said, when I was 11, I got my eagle feather. Mom took care of it for many years, and you get older and you get away from the teachings, you get away from the different things, and you always come back. And so, like I said, I've always been intuitive. I've always had connections, but I didn't really follow it for a while. I had kids, and just life was happening. And so, unfortunately, Mom got sick with cancer in 2015, and I would walk into her room at the end of my workday, and I'd walk in, I say, "Hello, Mama," and she'd be like, "Oh, good, you're here." Like a sigh of relief. I was like,
Yeah,
"Whoa, what is like crappy day? No visitors or like?"
yeah,
She says, "No, no, I had a good day. I had lots of visitors." She goes, "But when you come, I just feel better." And I was like, "Whoa!" I'm thinking to myself, the baby of the family, youngest of nine.
yeah,
But there was more to it than just that. That was like it was more so the energy that and the calm and the serenity that I brought to the room. Much like when you meet someone, you pick up their energy. you can feel, you can just feel into the energies of people. And so
Yes.
that's what I brought for my mom, which I'm proud and happy that I could do that.
Yeah.
I would sit with her, and I was sitting playing on my phone, and my mom was turned away from me, and she was having a nap. And so I'm just, hanging out, playing my phone, being. And then I get the telling, laying of the hands, lower back, right hip. And it was just like me and you talking right now. It was just that loud. I was like, and I thought, I'm losing my mind. Something, what's going on here? And so it kept laying of the hands, lower back, right hip. And I'm like, okay, now this is okay for sure. This is talking to me,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to do that because mom, being of the residential school, hand holding, hugging, physical touch, any of that was not mom's way. It
Mm,
just wasn't her way. They just made it. They just made it like it was a bad thing, and so
right.
mom's way. So, but she loved us different, just
Hmm.
like that. And so they kept persisting, laying of the hands, lower back, right hip, and I was just like, so finally I did this, and I'm like, kind of put my hands there, and I'm like kind of waiting for something to happen, or mom, maybe she was going to get mad at me or whatever it was, but nothing happened. She's like, my mom says, wow, she goes, your hands are so hot. And I was like, and I didn't, you couldn't feel anything different, but I
Yeah.
did. And so she got some relief, and I was like intrigued, and I was like kind of blown away by that. And so I started researching, and the closest I could find was hands-on light touch Reiki energy work.
Oh,
So I became a Reiki master. I started doing energy work, light touch, hands-on healing, and I mixed that with my intuitive gifts, talents, my downloads, my connections with my team, and I put that all together into Mikwan Energy Works.
oh,
So Mikwan Energy Works. It just works. It just does.
yes.
It just just like
I, I just love how that's how it sort of came to be.
yeah,
Because you were just sitting there and wow, and you just got this message that said, hands on, do it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And of
yeah,
course, I was arguing with it, or in
yes,
my mind's eye, because I'm like, you don't do that. No, no, mom doesn't do that. That's not how it
yeah.
goes.
Oh,
It was okay.
yes.
And so my journey started back then. And so mom passed in 15,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so each of the kids got like an inheritance of sorts. And I decided, I could go pay a pile of bills and be responsible. I could, but I
Yes.
could also go on adventures, because my mom and I adventures. So being the youngest of nine, I got to, I spent a lot. I was the last one at home, and so
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with my mom, and we went on adventures. We did a lot of cool things. I made her do lots of stuff that she probably generally wouldn't have. So mom and I adventured quite a bit. So I decided one of my adventures, I was going to take my four kids skiing in Banff, Lake Louise, ski the big
Yeah.
three.
Yes.
So I took them, and midweek I sent them off skiing, and I toured the town of Banff. And I happened upon this store, and it was a beautiful storefront with big glass windows and rows of mixing bowls. I thought they were mixing bowls, but they're
Oh,
crystal singing bowls.
oh, right.
Yeah, so I wandered into this mixing bowl store, and I met Martha Burkett. She was the owner, and she told me how they worked, how they work for healing, sound, vibration, energy, all the different things, all of the amazingness that sound healing is. And so I told her what brought me there. I was grieving.
Yes.
I don't think you ever really stop grieving, but
Mhm.
I was, it was heavy. It was heavy.
Yeah.
So she took a few bowls down from her amazing store collection, and she gave me a little 15-minute sound bath. And just the lift of the grief, that like the lift of the heaviness on my chest, like the elephant that was sitting on my chest was like
Yeah.
not as heavy now. I could,
Ah,
and just how the Flintstones had the cloud following that
yes.
cloud. So my
Yes.
cloud was dissipated. It was just kind of rain.
Oh,
So just the lift of the grief and the heaviness. Of course, I was still grieving, but it wasn't as stifling as it was
mhm.
when I walked in. And I thought, oh my goodness, I need to buy some of these. So I picked one of them up, and I was like, oh my goodness. I put it down very, very, very gently, telling myself, quit touching things in the store. I picked up a $10,000 bowl. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Okay, well, okay, maybe I'll just start very gently, very all purpose little, tiny little
yes.
bowl. So I did. I just picked up just one little all-purpose frosted one, gently priced, and I was already doing my energy work at my nation at this time. And so our trip was over. I returned home and I was doing energy work, and I just played the one little bowl at the very end of my healing session with one of my
Yeah.
elders. And he was cute. He sits up on the table and he's looking at me and he's like, "You're looking at me," and he's looking at the bowl and he's looking at me and he's pointing. He said, "When you played that thing, all this, it felt like all this stuff was just coming out right there.
Oh, wow.
Release, right?" So I knew I had to, keep going with this. So
Yeah.
that's how I got started with this,
Wow.
with the energy work and the sound healing, and it's just amazing how it works, because energy is vibration. Energy is vibration.
Yes.
Energy, emotion is emotions. So energy and motion,
Right. Right.
emotions, vibrations, sound, all of the amazing things. So that is why I absolutely love traveling extensively and sharing this
Yes.
beautiful crystal sync.
Oh, oh, well, thank you so much, June, for sharing that. I have to say that I've seen ladies doing this, but I've never really totally understood it until now. So I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you. What kind of people are coming to you for healing? Is it emotional trauma or physical or?
all different kinds of trauma. Really, there's grief
Yeah,
and loss, and just kind of emotional and relationships, and
yeah.
all different walks of life come.
Oh, so
Different.
are you?
Even my grandson's, he's like, "Cookum, I'm just not feeling good," and so I'll set up tables and the bowls, little 10 minutes and energy work and sound bath, and he'll be like, "I'm good now, Cookum."
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, how sweet. So do sessions have to be in person or can you do them like
No,
over
oh,
Zoom or?
we can do them like over Zoom, just like this. Recently,
Oh,
uh, I had a beautiful friend. Actually, I was connected with her through my sister, and we meant to connect. We meant to get together. We meant to, but unfortunately, she had passed just recently, and we never did get to connect. We only connected over Zoom.
oh,
She specifically would request sound bath and meditate guided meditations to help her and support her through her chemo treatments.
yeah.
And yeah, it was a beautiful thing. Every
Uh,
we would connect, and if she wasn't up to sitting in or having a session on Zoom, I would just
yeah.
record it and then I would send her the link, and she
Oh,
relieved through that.
that's just beautiful. I love that because here you are with your talents and your healing energies and everything you do, and you can help anybody anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
I just love technology
Yes.
when
If
when it works properly.
if there is one good thing about that big C word,
Yes,
it's the opening up the awareness, opening up the connections through Zoom,
yes,
and us that we can still connect.
yes. Wow.
That's a gift.
Oh, absolutely. Well, June, I just I just so grateful that I got to know you. I'm so grateful that you wrote your story and that you were willing to come on and do this for us. Can
Yeah.
you tell me like what would you like to say to anybody who's watching or listening right now? Do you have any words of wisdom or anything at all you'd like to
Absolutely.
share?
Yeah. So the I just recently I did a presentation, or it's a presentation that I generally do. I did it at my nation's. It's Knowing Our Spirits conference. So a bunch of different nations through Alberta, Saskatchewan. We all gathered there. I got to connect with a bunch of elders, and it was amazing. And I did my presentation all around the journey to wellness through sound. Sound. And so I brought the awareness around how sound can affect your body on all the different levels, our energy centers, and stir up different emotions, and just brings around all the connections to emotions and healing through sound. So the one exercise that I do with everyone, and it's I can be just me and you on Zoom call like this, or I can have like I've done presentations up to like 500 ladies at a women's event, and I do this particular thing where I help people connect with music, and people do, like, people love music, they listen to stuff, but what are you listening to? How is that affecting your emotions? How was
Right.
music is a big deal if we think about it.
Yes.
Yeah, we have wedding songs. Like we go over like what song am I going to play for my wedding? What song am I going to play? What song are we going to play for our grad ceremony? You know, what kind of road trip songs? What kind of road trip song am I going to put together before I take off on this big journey? So even right down to our funeral songs.
Yes.
Oh, like,
Yes.
and that was one of the things, just to lighten up the load around, um, having those conversations, because inevitably when people pass, there's things you have to do. And so
Yes.
the conversations you used to have at home was, which songs are we going to play for when we bring in, when we greet the casket, or like all the different things
Yeah.
we just, and that's another thing, we bring humor to a lot of our situations to lighten the load. And so we would joke and we'd talk, and mom's like, oh, well, mom says, oh, I don't like this song and I want that song and this song. And my brother Garth was there, but he wasn't really, we didn't think he was listening. So we were just having this conversation. My brother's off from the side, and my mom's talking, oh, I want this song and this song and this song. And oh, yeah, I like that other song. And he pipes up from over back 40. He says, Mom, you already got 3 songs. You can't have 4 songs. And so it was a big deal. But mom, she did get her 4 songs in the end.
Yes. Oh.
I can sing. So when I do these presentations, I have everybody settle in, and I bring
Yeah.
awareness just to the breath and just to the moment,
Yeah.
and then connecting and just to being and just paying attention to the breath and in the moment. And then I play them a song. And if you would like, I can just play the little bit. I can just show you here.
I would love you to play a little bit. That would be fantastic. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So just settling in and bringing awareness just to the breath, and just noticing your body as it sits in your chair, in through the nose and out through the mouth, and just feeling into this next little track of music that I'm going to play for you. Isn't that beautiful? And
It
so
was. Oh.
if it's just me and you, or
Yeah.
if, like I said, a group of 500,
Yeah.
I get the same reaction.
Yeah.
Everybody they just light up.
Yes.
The journey to wellness through sound is one of my, like, of all the things that I do, is one of my favorite things to do and to present, is the journey to wellness through sound. And the main concept around that one is like, what are the songs are we playing for ourselves, but more
Yes.
importantly, what are the stories we are telling ourselves?
Mm.
What are the stories?
Oh.
Are you stuck in stinking thinking? Are you, or what kind of things are you telling yourself, even from when you wake up in the morning, when you pass by the,
Yes.
oh God, look at those bags? Or is it, oh, hey, good morning, beautiful?
Yes. Oh,
What are
yes.
the stories that you tell yourself? And so
Yes.
I love to share this. It's all about
Oh.
sound, energy, emotions, vibrations, and all
Oh.
things that is.
Well, thank you so much for sharing
Girl.
a little bit of your music. I know I was like, is yeah,
Is that it?
I appreciate that.
Thank
So,
you.
well, June Palmer, it
Thank
was such a
you.
pleasure to talk to you. And so for anyone out there that would like to learn more about June or connect with her, if you go into the comments, or not comments section, but the description, you're going to find a couple of links to reach out to June. Also, the link to her book will be there, where her story is. And so she, if you're forgetting, she's written in volume 6, Women Like Me, Healing and Acceptance. And she's in chapter 1. So she's easy to find. Just open up the book and there she is.
Yay.
And her story is a remembering. Memories carried from one generation to the next. Love it. Just love it. So thank you, June. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will talk again soon, I hope. And
Yes,
I appreciate you so much for everything that you've done to contribute to this book and sharing your wisdom with us today. I have become enlightened, and I appreciate that very much. And if I have, I'm sure lots of other ladies will as well. So I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, Nanaskamun. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.